guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account and we're getting our daily hotfix diamonds. We've been getting these an incredible amount of time, which is far more than we're seeing out of the codes. So adjusted the enrage mechanic of Adrax, the final boss, when possessing a high number of rage stacks, when entering its 6th life and above. So if you killed him, I believe 6 times, it is making sure that it's not doing abnormal damage. So hop in, guys, collect out those diamonds. In addition, we've continued our tower progression. You can see here, guys, King's Tower, I actually went up, I believe, around 30 floors at this point. So that in total is another 1,200 diamonds, not including all the diamonds that I got out of the floors. So today we're going to be continuing with the World Tree. We've already covered the Tower of Light. We've covered the Brutal Citadel. So we're going to go through the World Tree and show you really the heroes in here that you need to build to drive in the World Tree. Now, overall, guys, I'm still kind of a stickler on the fact that there are several heroes that we're seeing used within the different towers, and it is literally the only game mode that we are seeing these heroes in, which again makes it, to me, not super viable to build a lot of heroes. But if you do want to make the tower progression where we have the time emblems, where we have the Stargazer cards, you really do not have a lot of opportunities to go through there. So going through just a couple base formations, guys, number one is probably Orin. Orin is a hero that had a little bit of utility within PvP, but now we are seeing him in every single World Tree tower when you start getting into 2, when you start getting into 3. Overall, guys, going to be a pretty big hero to build. Raku, of course, still dominating the tower. Absolutely love the little rascal raccoon. Does an incredible amount of damage. Big thing with Raku, guys, is he still has a ton of utility in different formations. Then, of course, we have the awakened version of Solise doing an incredible amount of damage, combined with the combination of Nevi. Now, of course, Nevi with that 60 engraving will actually buff up the entities that Solise creates, which amplifies Solise's damage pretty high. So let's run through the Wilders, guys, like we have done in the last couple videos, show you kind of who we're looking at. So looking here, again, looking utility-wise, we'll start with the bottom a little bit. Cirrus, a lot of these heroes are just going to be kind of filler heroes. When you look at, Respin, when you look at Kaz, when you look at the original version of Solise, when you look at Cirrus, most of those heroes are not going to be used for anything, and literally outside of fodder for the tower, filling a slot within there. When you start getting into multiple teams, not really used. Now, we know, guys, the awakened version of Solise is really probably one of the very top heroes to build when it comes to the awakened heroes. If you're a free-to-play player, if you're a new player, if you're a veteran, this is a hero, guys, that has utility everywhere. Similar to what we're seeing with the awakened version of Brutus, you have to build out the awakened version of Solise. A lot of players were even asking over in the new Fantastic Beasts, what is the substitute for Solise? Honestly, you could try another support hero, but with the damage she brings, with the healing that she brings, getting one copy of Solise will work well fundamentally, even in a lot of different game modes. An absolute driver within the tower. She will cover one team almost by herself, guys. As long as you can keep her alive, she will do incredibly well within the game mode. Like I was saying with Raku is a hero, the 30960. A lot of players kind of on the fence with the 60, but ultimately, guys, he is the damage dealer. You want to build him out as high as possible, for the simple fact that the higher you build him out, the more stats you put behind him, the more damage you're going to see Raku doing, especially within the towers. Now, he is also used in some cursed realm comps. We see him again in the towers. We also see him in the campaign running with Leonardo da Vinci. So Raku still has a ton of utility in AFK Arena, which makes him one of the big reasons why we do build Raku first. Now, of course, we have Mishka. She is super, super important. Again, we're seeing a ton of utility with her crowd control aspect. Big thing with her, guys, is the 9 of 9 furniture and the 60 engraving as well. It really increases the viability of her, and also the crowd control, guys. If you're looking at the stats themselves, the insight and the tenacity, getting these up higher will not only allow her to nullify the crowd control ability that is being hit with, but she will also have the ability that her crowd control will land on other enemies, which is the reason why we do build a lot of these heroes up. Now, short of that, guys, again, Orin would be one that I really did overlook. He is another one, again, 30930 will work. And the reason I say that, guys, I know the 60 is really, really good. I know this can actually amplify his damage by quite a bit. But again, to keep from over investing from heroes that are specifically utilized within the tower. And the big logic behind that, guys, is if you're getting, let's say, a 30930 on Orin, even if it takes an extra, 5, 10, 15 battles of auto battling through the tower to get through there, to get his little bit of an RNG factor to work in there, I am okay with it, versus putting another 4,500 cores into him just to get that E60 again to make the tower a little bit quicker. Again, I don't feel like over investing in him is really, really beneficial. But then heroes like Peanut, plus 30, 9 of 9, 60 engraving on her, of course, for the damage mitigation. Not a huge requirement, but when with a star, similar to what we see with the Awakened version of Solise, guys, is not only does she do healing, that she does the damage mitigation, but she also does an absolute incredible amount of damage when you do have her built out. So again, the damage mitigation is a bonus factor to building her out to that plus 60 engraving because of the damage that she puts out. And again, Peanut is still seeing a lot of utility in different game modes, which again is the reason why I would definitely recommend building her out. Now, we do have a couple other staple heroes in here that are seeing a lot of utility. Leica, again, fundamentally, Leica hasn't changed since she's been reworked a couple years ago, but the awe ability to increase the energy and also the haste, very, very cool. We still see her in a ton of formations, just being built out as she is. Same with Source, guys. We still see Source in a lot of different formations. Again, plus 30 signature item is really all you need for him. The engraving, of course, will do a little bit more damage. The furniture build will give him a little damage mitigation, but he's still being used in a couple different formations, including the Grand Hunt formations we've seen him in there. Even some of the boss formations when it comes to the Cursed Realm, we are still seeing Saurus within those formations. Hippa is really being used in the Thorn Cheese, and again, as a filler. Now, Nevi, we're seeing her again in quite a few formations. Big thing with her, guys, is 30960 again. This is what buffs up the entities. So when you look at the Awakened version of Baden, when you look at Solus, when you look at Grez, when you look at anyone who summons, this can actually be a really, really big buff. And Nevi is being run with the Awakened version of Solus a lot. Just like we've seen in our tower campaign, our tower formation, Nevi was actually being run with the Awakened version of Solus, which is what we normally see. Now, looking at the rest of the heroes, guys, again, they're kind of a filler at this point. Tamaris, it seems like he's making he is making a pretty big splash in the tower, just as a crowd control aspect, not really the damage dealer, just like we've seen. A lot of players were utilizing the trial version. Is he going to be required? At this point, I really don't feel like he is going to be required to be built. That is the reason he is right down here. Again, not a huge priority. I want to see him worked into a couple more Cursed Realm comps, worked into a couple different comps to really up the utility in him. Now, Gorvo, of course, does have the baseline utility of being a tank, doing some crowd control. Oku the same, a little bit difficult to build. The rest of them at this point, guys, are just kind of fodder heroes, including my poor Almas. Look at that. They don't even put him up here with the Ascended heroes, guys. His combat rating is so low that he is down at level 1. That's funny. So an elite level 1 Respin is at 1,514. He's at 458 with his signature item at level 1. That is pretty sad. Even at the Ascended 5 stars, he is still that far down for the combat rating. Wow, I never even realized, but that's pretty funny. Because even Mishka's 447, 458, and then you get into literally just the elite heroes that are on level 1 and still far superior for Almas. All right, guys. So again, the tower, the Awakened version of Solus, Reku, Mishka, Orin, definitely a really big priority. There's probably about 10 heroes in here that again are still seeing utilization within different game modes. Orin, of course, like I said, PvP, he was prevalent for a little bit. Now it seems like he's actually gotten to the point where, short of the tower, he's not really being used. All right, guys, so that'll do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and as always, thank you guys for watching.